Hello guys, welcome back to another one of my videos, and in this video we're going to be looking at how to set up your YouTube setup. Now if it's really low, I can do it. And also welcome to my final part of this series that I started.
Hey guys, welcome to the course.
So firstly, I'm going to be taking my thumbnail, which would be obviously PLS SUB.
And if you don't know who I am, my name is Sydney DeYongzen and I'm a filmmaker and photographer on YouTube. And in this course, I'm going to show you how to set up a YouTube filming space. Yep. That's right. From a bedroom to an office to even a kitchen, I'm going to show you different ways that you can set up a YouTube filming space anywhere around your home. It's going to be a little bit different than your traditional course because I'm going to show you more of a behind-the-scenes process so that you can see how I set up my lights, my audio, my camera, and everything else in between. And so just sit back, relax, enjoy the lessons because I know that you're going to gain a lot of good value from seeing how I set up a YouTube.
Yes, very, and also which I am going to put this in the end screen, but basically I'll put how to use vidIQ part 1, so you basically have more training on basically just how to use it. And also I would have the video that's my most recent upload, and also the video that is best for you, then also vidIQ part 1, and also if you want to subscribe for other lessons about like YouTube or something like that, just subscribe to me, which will be in this end screen if you decide to subscribe to me and to see more proof that I'm a good YouTuber. So yeah,
a YouTube filming space.
Shout out to this guy too. Yay! So basically, this is mine YouTube setup without like, yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to your first lesson, how to set up a YouTube studio in your bedroom. Now, we're in my master bedroom right now, but what I'm about to talk about applies to a living room, a family room, pretty much any room that has windows. Now, when you set up a YouTube studio, especially if you don't have any gear at all, the first thing that you want to do is observe your surroundings. You want to see where the light comes in from the windows. You want to see what's in the background. You basically want to think, what do you want your audience to see overall? Obviously, you're going to be in the foreground, but what's going to be in the background? What's going to be pleasing to the eye? And so, for this lesson, we're going to do just that. But let's go ahead and figure out the best place to set up a YouTube studio in a bedroom. So one of the first things that I noticed in this bedroom is that there is nice soft lighting coming from the windows, 2 windows on that side of the room. These windows are important because if you don't have proper lighting gear, then you want to make sure that you film by a window because 1, it's going to look real natural, and 2, it's going to look really pleasing on your face. So let's go ahead and do that right now, set up our camera by a window, and try to figure out the best composition because we want to make sure that we are well lit on camera. Alright, so let's go ahead and just move this camera setup, and I think what I want to do, I want to place this camera set up by this window over here because I like the look of that background. It's very simple, very minimalistic. It's not too distracting. So let's go ahead and set up right there. There we go. Okay, so right off the bat, it looks 100 times better than when the camera setup was over there. Okay, so first things first, let's take a look at the composition. I have a monitor at the bottom of my camera setup, and everything looks okay. I don't like that ceiling light up over there, and so what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to zoom in on my lens. There we go, and that's a cool little trick and a very easy trick. If you want to get rid of something in the frame, oftentimes a very simple fix is to zoom in on your lens. You can also move the camera around, but if you can fix a composition while you're filming, then it just prevents you having to do the work in post-production. Okay, so right off the bat, I think it looks great. There's a little bit too much headroom, and so I'm just going to just tilt the camera down just a tad. There we go. Yep, that looks fantastic. I think that's great. Next thing that I'm going to do is maybe lower the ISO on the camera. It's a bit too hot, especially on this side of my face, and we want the image to look pleasing. And so let's go ahead and lower down the ISO. There we go. I might even just bring this a little bit more. Yeah, it looks fantastic. Yeah, it's great. I love it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the composition. We have my face being lit up on one side, thanks to the natural light coming from the window. It's very pleasing. It actually has a very nice, a very pleasant light to shadow ratio on my face. But let's just say that you don't want to have too much shadow on your face. Maybe you have a makeup or hair tutorial YouTube channel, and you want your audience to be able to see your entire face. Well, a simple fix for that is to face the window. And so let's go ahead and move the camera setup right by the window, and we're going to let the natural light coming from the window illuminate my entire face. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, we're blown out. We'll fix that in a second. But let's go ahead and fix our composition. Not too happy with that composition. You have my tripod and camera over there. But let's go ahead and bring the curtain back. There we go. That way. Nope, let's do a little bit more. Here we go. Okay. And I'm going to tilt up just a little bit. So if I am doing a hair makeup tutorial, you want the composition to mostly consist of your face, so you can do your makeup hair tutorial stuff. Okay, so lighting-wise, I think looks great. Composition-wise, let's get rid of that tripod and camera setup. So let's do that right now. I was going to use this, but apparently not. Okay, that looks okay, but now I don't like that TV in the background. It actually is very distracting. It's like a TV coming out of my face. So let's go ahead and move the entire camera setup to the second window. So let's do that right now. Okay, we are almost there. Okay, so basically I just repositioned the entire camera setup to this side of the bedroom, and I zoomed in on the lens to remove the TV in the background because I thought it was a bit too distracting. And here is a blank wall. I think it's great. It's not too distracting, and especially if you're doing a hair and makeup tutorial, you want the center of focus to be on your face. And so I can even go closer if I wanted to. I apologize for the hideousness of the face, but you get the idea. Let's see. Just looking at the composition, I would even argue just to bring more light coming from the window. So I'm going to open up the curtains just a little bit more, just to bring some light to my face. Okay. Let's see. How's that? Yeah, even better. Really ideal for a hair and makeup YouTube channel. There's nothing too distracting in the background, really nothing at all. And if I were to do makeup on my face or fix my hair or whatever, then the audience will be able to focus on that. Now, if you want, you can add a shelf or maybe a frame or maybe some fairy lights in the background. If you do want to add a little bit of pizzazz in your composition, you don't have to. This is just a minimal example. But let's go ahead and just switch the camera around so that we can actually include something like a shelf. So, there is a shelf right behind me. I think that looks great. Okay, let's zoom out just a little bit. There we go. Gosh, yeah, I think that looks really, really nice. Let's go ahead and bring the curtain out just a little bit. Maybe too much. That's too much. Cool. Yeah, I think it looks great. It lit up this side of the wall just a little bit more, and I really like the composition a lot. Now obviously there's a shelf behind me, and you can add whatever items you feel is appropriate for your YouTube channel. Behind me I've got my wedding album, a plant, I've got a diffuser, there's some books, a journal, and some other stuff. And so the objects you can see in the background have a lifestyle kind of feel. And so if you have a lifestyle YouTube channel, then maybe adding things like that would be appropriate. But whatever your YouTube channel is about, and you do have a shelf in the background, just add some things that would relate to your YouTube channel. For example, my YouTube channel is all about filmmaking and photography. So if I were to do this all over again, I'd maybe add like a camera, maybe some lenses or some other camera gear because it relates to my YouTube YouTube channel. And that's pretty much it. That's how you set up a YouTube filming space if you don't have any of the fancy gear. The first thing you do is look at your surroundings. Does the room have a window? How many windows does it have? How does the light change at different times of the day? And if the lighting is really good at, say, I don't know, 11 o'clock in the morning, then maybe you should schedule your filming times to be around that time. Once you've made those observations, just play around with your camera setup. See what composition looks good, see which background you want your audience to see, and then maybe add some decor stuff like a shelf or a frame or some other stuff just to add that icing on the cake to your video production. And this doesn't have to be in a bedroom. I mean, the same principles that we talked about can apply to a living room, a family room, pretty much any room in your home. But the entire idea behind all this is to be resourceful. So observe, assess, and then execute. And once you figure all that out, then congrats, you have set up a YouTube filming space in your room. But let's move on to the next lesson where we now get to bring in our studio lights and other camera gear and set up our YouTube filming space in the same exact room. Welcome to lesson 2. And so for this lesson, we're going to set up a YouTube filming space in the same room from the previous lesson, but this time with proper camera gear. Also, I have a second camera set up on the other side of the room because I want to capture how I set up my lights, where I place my boom stand and stuff like that. And I think by seeing all that, you'll have a clear understanding of how to set up proper gear should you have it in your budget to get some. But we're going to use this composition because I quite liked it from the previous lesson. With the natural light coming from the windows and from the composition that I'm looking at, everything looks good. But now let's go ahead and add in some actual studio gear to make it look great. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in an actual studio light. And the light that I love using is the Aperture 120D Mark II. And this light I use pretty much for everything. I have two
Well, for me, like, right now, I'm in the basement. So basically, I do have actually lighting as in the basement because there's this huge line of lights that are like 2 feet away from like the wall and basically just like 2 or 3 feet away from each other. And also there's this little area where there is a bar, a table, then behind me, so right now I'm on a couch, basically behind me is this very creepy like hallway where in my aunt has like Christmas lights and all that, so yeah.
Of these Aperture 120Ds. I use it for my main YouTube studio, I use it for documentaries, I use it for pretty much everything. And attached underneath the Aperture 120D is a rolling stand. Now, you can use a light stand, sure. I don't know if I'd recommend it because there are a lot of cheap light stands out there. The Aperture 120D Mark II is quite a heavy light, and if you add a softbox on top of it, it's going to make the entire top part of the light setup a lot heavier. And if you don't get the proper light stand, then that entire light setup could tip over, fall, and it just break, and you don't want that happening. But for me, I film pretty much everywhere in my house, and so what makes it easier for me to move this light is to put it on a rolling stand. Yeah, you don't really see it, but trust me, there's wheels on it, and I'm able to just wheel it around anywhere around the house. So yeah, let's cut over here to this camera, and we're going to attach a softbox, a light modifier, to this light to soften the light and make the entire image look way better. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that right now. And I like placing my key light, which is your main source of light, about 45 degrees from where you are. So say that I'm looking straight at the camera, 45 degrees is roughly about over there, and so that's where I want to place the light. So let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Nice. There we go. And once you have it placed 45 degrees from your position, oftentimes I like to place it 45 degrees up. Now it's going to be different for everyone, but that's a good starting point for me to start with. And if it doesn't look good, then I can either place it higher or make it lower. And so let's go ahead and just leave it right over there. And now we're going to add our softbox, our light modifier. And this isn't your typical softbox. This is actually quite a special light modifier. This is called the aperture lantern. And basically, if you set it all up, it looks like a lantern. And for me, lanterns, I feel, produce very pleasant looking lighting. Let's go ahead and just gonna set it up right now. There you go. So yeah, so it looks like a lantern. And I love the look of lighting using lanterns as a light modifier because it just looks really pleasant, looks natural on screen. You can use, you know, ordinary standard softboxes, they work great as well. But the whole idea is to use a light modifier like this, a softbox, to soften and diffuse the light. Because the softer the light is on a subject's face, then the more pleasing it looks to your audience. We all want to look at the camera, so there we go. All right, let's go ahead and set this up. All right, here we go. What's great about Aperture products is that they just work super fast and super easy. They know that creators have to work fast, they have deadlines, and so I really appreciate the thought that goes into Aperture products. And so if there is room for the budget to get Aperture products, then I highly recommend it. All right, let's go ahead and light it up. Plug it to the wall. All right. Don't worry about the lantern in frame. We're gonna fix that in a second. Okay, so right off the bat, it's super bright, so we're gonna tone it down. And the great thing about the Aperture 120D is that you can lower the intensity of the light, which is absolutely fantastic. So let's move the light out of frame. There we go. That way we don't see it. Yeah, you don't see it at all. That's great. So let's go ahead and increase the intensity to 30%. Wow, it looks really nice. Okay, hold on. Great, that looks fantastic. Let's lower down just a tad. Very cool. That looks fantastic. My face is fully lit on both sides, so not only do we have the natural light coming from the windows, lighting up this side of my face, but we also have the Aperture 120D and the lantern adding some fill light to my face. And so, yeah, I think it looks great. So here's what it looks like before. And here's what it looks like after. Love it. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and zoom out on the lens because I want to show you something that I'm going to add in the setup. And so now I'm going to show you an audio boom setup that you can use for your video productions. All right, here we go. So the light stand I'll be using is a light stand by Matthews. I trust anything that they make, and they support some pretty heavy setups. And so we're going to use a Matthews light stand. Once we have that, we're just going to raise the stand just a little bit, and on top of the light stand, what we're going to do is we're going to add a boom arm. And basically, you just attach the boom arm onto the light stand. Should fit. There we go. Okay. So the idea is to have a stand and an arm that goes out, and at the end of that arm, you attach your microphone. This is the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to attach the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus to the boom arm, and then connect the audio to my camera. And just like that. Very cool. Let's go ahead and bring it to this camera.
Okay.
All right. So there is my audio boom setup, and there are a couple of ways that you can do this. But one of two ways that I like to connect the audio to the camera is either do it physically by using a longer audio cable. So we're just going to connect the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, and I'm actually going to increase the length of the boom arm. Probably place it right here off camera. camera, and the idea is to have the microphone be as close to my face as possible. Obviously not like that, but it's going to raise this more so that you don't see it. I'll do it that way. I'm going to zoom in a bit. And then I wrap the cable around the boom arm so that the cable doesn't dangle, show itself in the mount position. And then very simply, I just connect the audio jack to my camera to capture clean audio. I'm going to zoom in. There we go. And the closer the audio is to your mouth, it's going to make for really, really clean audio. I could probably zoom in a little bit more. There you go. That's great. You don't see it. And now I'm going to connect the audio cable to my camera. Okay, so now this is the audio coming from the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus that's attached to a boom arm, attached to a light stand. And the audio should sound really, really good. Again, I'm going to zoom out so that you can see some of the setup. Here we have the microphone, we have the lantern, we have our key light coming from the window, the natural soft lighting. But if I hide all that away by zooming in, now we have a very clean setup with good lighting and really good audio. Now you don't have to do it exactly this way. You can actually attach the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus to a separate audio recorder like the Zoom H1N or the H6, or you can just bypass this whole boom audio setup and just use a wireless setup like the lav mic that I have attached to me. Either way, all these setups will just add a lot of production value to your videos. And that, my friends, is how you set up a YouTube filming space in a bedroom using proper gear. Guys, so in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to set up a YouTube filming space in an office. Now, I know you're thinking it looks really bad, and the reason why is because nothing really is set up. But I'm going to take my secondary camera, and I'm going to show you all the gear that I'll be using to set up this space properly. I'm actually looking at the monitor right now, and yeah, it looks really bad. We're going to fix that right now. Okay, so here's my secondary camera. This is what I'm seeing in front of me. This is my main camera setup. That is the Sony A7 III. And attached to it is the 16 to 35G master lens. On the bottom of the camera setup is my monitor, and this is a monitor by a company called Feel World. They're okay, and you can find pretty decent monitor companies on Amazon. This is the one that I use because, well, it's one of the easiest monitors that I've ever used. And I've attached that monitor with a thing called a small friction arm. And basically, this is a multi-purpose, multi-function arm that you can attach accessories like a monitor, a microphone, etc., etc. So I like attaching that monitor onto my
Yeah, I would put on a monitor on the camera and also a microphone on the camera so I could make crisp audio, but also good content. But I don't have enough money or equipment, so if you want me to do that, just subscribe, please. All my words are getting messed up since at least today I've been filming for already 2 hours, so yeah.
Tripod. I just leave it there permanently, and I put my camera on top of the tripod whenever I film my YouTube videos in the studio. And then on top of the camera is the Rode Wireless Go, which wirelessly connects to the lav mic that's hidden underneath my shirt, and that's the audio that you're hearing right now. Here, I'm just going to walk out just a little bit more just so you can see everything. I'll be turning that light on, but that is the Aperture 120D Mark II. That is my main light for my YouTube videos whenever I film here in the studio. And like you've seen in the other lessons, I use the 120D Mark II for pretty much everything. As for audio goes, you've seen this before in previous lessons, but this is the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus that's attached to a boom arm that is attached to a light stand. And then I have this long audio cable that I just wrap around the boom arm, and I connect it directly to my camera, and I set it up right over there whenever I film my YouTube videos, and that is where I sit, and I just look straight into the camera and I just do my thing. Now you might notice behind everything over here are these panels that are stuck to my wall. These are essentially sound panels that I bought from Amazon. They're not the greatest, but they do eliminate some reverb or some echo whenever I film my YouTube videos, because like I've said before in a previous course, audio is way more important than video, so that's why I place those sound panels over there. I have a secondary studio light. We'll get to that in a second, but let's go ahead and turn on the main light so that I can show you what the composition looks like. Okay. So back to the main camera, let's go ahead and turn on the Aperture 120D Mark II. You've seen this before. This is the Aperture remote, and I use that to control both my studio lights. And so let's go ahead and turn on the main light. Boom! Already 1000% looks way better than this. I'm also going to turn off the room light because we don't want to mix color temperatures, and so let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay. Very cool. Okay, so yeah, already it looks great. It looks fantastic. I'm looking at the monitor. I'm very well lit. Everything looks great. There is a nice accent light from my desk lamp over here, and which is really nice to have, and it makes the entire composition look more interesting. Even my window over there, it just adds a little bit more details. You have the plant on top of my shelf. You got the backpacks on the wall. All these little details just kind of add to the composition, and that's the thing. They make your composition just a little bit more interesting, and so whenever you can, just try to think of those details when you set up your own YouTube filming space. The great thing about my setup is that I can place my camera pretty much anywhere, and so I don't have to have it there. I can just move it off to the side and do this. And so if I am filming a video showing people how to edit a video, then people can look on the monitor in the background, and I can show people how I edit. People see more of my backpack wall, some art in this wall, and basically it just adds another dynamic to my room because I've switched up the angles. Sometimes when you're filming YouTube videos, seeing the same set every single time can be a little bit boring, and so I try to change it up whenever I can. Sometimes I film here, sometimes I film like this, and sometimes I film on my couch right over there. And so yeah, it all depends on the video and how often I want to change it up. And I purposely set up this room to do just that. I want it to be multifunctional. I want it to be easy to move the camera around. I used to live in a tiny apartment where I would have to set up my camera, lights, and my mic every single time, and then tear it down whenever I was finished filming. I didn't have a dedicated YouTube filming space, and so I purposely made this room where setting up was just ready to go, ready for me to film and just do my thing. And going back to the composition, it looks great. I think it looks fantastic. We can add to it if we wanted to, and we're gonna do just that. And I didn't turn it on before, but I'm gonna turn it on now. But take a look at this. How cool is that? Behind my desk is a Philips Hue light strip. I'm sure you've seen it in a lot of YouTube videos where you see light strips and different LED bulbs that can change colors all throughout the YouTuber's room. They're amazing lights, and they just add another dynamic to your composition, and just seeing that little bit of light behind my desk just makes it a lot more interesting to watch on screen. And so here's what it looks like before. Still good, but not as interesting. And here's what it looks like after. There you go. I also forgot to mention the stands that are holding my main key light, and the specific stand that I use is a Matthews C stand. You've seen it before in a previous lesson, but just in case you were wondering, those are the stands that I use for my heavy lights and heavy camera setups. And that, my friends, is how you simply set up a YouTube filming space in your office. But stay tuned, because later in this course, I'm gonna try to set up this same office so that it looks like a room fit for a gaming channel. And so that's gonna be really fun. But that's it for this lesson, and I will see you in the next one.
what is the manufacturer called?
Hey guys, welcome back, and in this lesson, we're going to turn this office space into a room that's fit for a gaming channel. Ooh, so excited. So one of the things that I've noticed with all gaming channels is that there's a lot of color in the background, and so that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to splash some color in the background. There's lots of blues, lots of purples. Those are very common colors in gaming and even tech channels, and so we're going to do just that. Right, so I'm just behind the camera, and I'm going to be wheeling out my Aperture 120D. I'll bring it to the front of the camera, hang tight. There we go. So what I'm going to do is that I am going to add some color to this light, because what I'm planning on doing is maybe splashing some purple, maybe some blue, just a bit of vibrancy in the background, because you know, this is a gaming channel. So you might be wondering, how am I going to add some color to this light? Well, simple. I'm going to use color gels. And I like using Roscoe lighting gels because, well, they are very well known in the industry. And there are different colors that you can choose from. You can get blue, oftentimes that's called color temperature blue, or CTB for short. You can cut them up like you've seen over here into pretty much any shape, and they're fairly affordable. And there's different colors, like there's reds, there's greens, there's orange, teal, really whatever you want. And so we're going to use a gel that I've already cut up, and we're going to put that on the light. I decided to go with a purple gel because it's a really fun and cool color. And so where is that? I cut it up somewhere. I put it. Oh, there it is. So I've cut up the gel in a circle and placed it in this placeholder that I can attach onto my light. And here you can see right there, it's the purple gel that I've cut up into a circle, and I placed it into the placeholder, closed it, and it locks because there's a magnet on it. And later on, I'm going to attach this to a soft box that I will connect to my Aperture 120D Mark II. So let me go ahead and grab that. So like I said before, there are many types of light modifiers for studio lights. The one I used earlier in this course is a lantern. The one that I'm using now is a big old light dome. And this one is a smaller version of the light dome. In fact, it's called the Aperture Light Dome Mini Mark II, because it's small. It's super easy to set up. I'm going to show you here if you can see. Just press down on it, locks into place. There we go. So that's what it looks like on the inside, and this is the diffuser just to soften up the light a little bit, and that's what we want. We don't want harsh lighting splashing onto the background. We want nice soft lighting, make it look natural, so to speak. So let's go ahead and attach this to the light. There we go. I'm going to turn it to you. So now the Light Dome Mini Mark II is attached to the main lights, and now I'm going to add the placeholder with my purple gel attached to it. Place it in the middle, just like so. Look at that. So now I'm able to punch out purple light. That looks pretty cool. All right, so now I'm just going to close this up. I'm going to turn it on so that you can see what it looks like. Oh, nice. We got our purple light. And because I have the remote, I can control both lights, my main key light and this purple light, pretty darn easy. So off, on, I can even increase and decrease the intensity. And so, gotta love Aperture products. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to place this light right next to the camera, and I'm going to splash it up on the ceiling, and then hopefully that light will just splash down to the rest of the room and create a nice purple color to my background. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and try that. Let's turn this off, pan so that you can see, just like so. There we go. So now the light is kind of pointed at the ceiling, probably at that corner right there. So ceiling and a little bit of the wall, and let's just see what it looks like, shall we? All right, here we go. Got get some purple. That looks great. Let's go back to what our main shot should look like. Okay, so there is a little bit of purple. Let's go ahead and increase the intensity. Look at that. That looks great. Wow, that's awesome. Let's zoom in just a little bit more. Oh, I love it. Looks great. And that's the advantage of using a wireless remote, because you can easily control the light from wherever you are. That looks great. I love it. Fantastic. Let's maybe add something more to the scene. So you probably remember the light strip that's behind my desk. Well, the great thing about that specific light strip is that I can change it to whatever color I want. I'm going to tap on the light strip.
I still got 43% complete. But that's going to be the end of this here, and bye-bye.